welcome back to Taking Trades. If this is your first time stopping by, my name is Jimmy, and this is my channel where we're all about day trading, sharing entry points, exit points, talking strategy, educational pieces. If we kind of get into that, I'd like to answer a lot of questions. So welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Welcome to February 1st, 2019, and it was a green day for me. Kind of a strange morning watching natural gas. I watched /NG, the natural gas fund, and I just couldn't get a good feel for where it was wanting to go into market open, and even in the pre-market, I just couldn't seem to get a good feel for it. So I did end up taking one trade on UGAZ, and I set a nice tight stop, and I was watching it, and I got a little bit of a push up, but ultimately got stopped out. So I can show you my entry and exit on that trade. Not very interesting, just sort of washed out on me. And I was glad I got stopped out because it ended up trailing off lower over the course of the day. So that was a good stop position for me. And then I was watching for my VWAP scalp breaks that I've been working on, sort of my side project I mentioned in yesterday's video. And some of the normal large cap stocks that I watch for that setup just really were kind of sluggish this morning, not giving very large ranging candles. Everything just seemed a little off. So I started to wonder maybe if just I was off today. So I did not take any scalp trades, any breaks of the VWAP. That didn't work out for any of my large caps. So then I was just kind of hunting around looking for support and resistance plays. And I happened upon Twitter, and Twitter was setting up a nice channel, and then it broke below the channel and pulled back up into what was previously the support level, which became resistance. And then there was a good entry point there. I didn't take it. Then there was another good entry point where it pulled back again. I didn't take that one. And I sort of broke a rule. I took the third one, and it wasn't a good one. And so I rode through a nice bounce back. I was watching stop levels of resistance overhead. Ultimately, after holding it for quite a while and going to my final resistance stop point, it pulled back and went the other direction, ended up coming back through, and I was able to exit my position for a profit. So I stayed green today, but it was with a little bit of pain and a little bit of time. So I want to hear what you guys traded today. Are you up? Are you down? Did you trade UGAZ? Did you trade DGAZ? Did you think natural gas was weird, or was that just me? I have a feeling it might have just been me. But anyway, questions, comments, post everything below. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start off by showing you guys my Twitter short position off of that overhead resistance level. So let's jump in.
So I told you that I was watching /NG this morning and that it wasn't making a whole lot of sense to me. If I back it up sort of in here in the 6 o'clock, 6:30 area, you could see it was just kind of bouncing around and trading somewhat sideways, but just sort of thin back and forth. It didn't seem to me like it had any good defined price action up and down. So I did take one trade on it, but it was a small loser, and I just got stopped out. It just ended up being kind of a going nowhere type of trade. So after that happened, I flipped over and I was just looking for large cap stocks that maybe were moving in certain patterns that I could maybe take a peek at. And I caught Twitter moving in kind of a range here. It set up a high sort of here, pulled back, went up, touched this overhead resistance, and then pulled back to support. So when I saw it touch down here, it started this support level and then touched it again a number of times here. Then as it sort of moved up and down, it came down, I got a third touch, and at that point I was watching it for a buy opportunity right here to go higher, but instead you can see we got a little rush of volume down here and it broke down. So the minute it broke down and pushed through this floor, then that support level becomes overhead resistance. So as it pushed down, my thought was, let's just watch this for a pullback, and when we get a touch on the other side, then we'll take a short position and look for 10 to 20 cents to the downside. So that's exactly what happened. It broke down, pushed down here to this bottom VWAP band, and then you can see it pulled right back up and it was right at the $1/2. So this is in reference to something we talked about, I think a week or two ago, about whole and $1/2 resistance and support levels. Anytime you run into a whole dollar amount or a $1/2 amount, a lot of times you'll get psychological resistance. So because it's a whole dollar, because it's a $1/2, you already get a little bit of I guess, significant resistance or support from that. So we had that in the $1/2 being 33.50, but then on top of that, we've got all these touches that have happened from the price action. So it looked like a pretty solid level, and it curled back around, and my mistake was I didn't take the entry here. And I really don't know why. I just paused and it pushed down. I missed it. So I waited for it to set up again, and you can see it came back and it set up again, and I didn't take that one. So what ended up happening, and I'll go ahead and turn on the trade here, is you can see as it came down, so I missed it here at the 50, I missed it here at like 47, 48, then it pulled down, and as it pulled back into the 15 moving average, I saw this first red candle and I went short, and it immediately bounced on me. Bounced all the way up here, which this was my initial stop loss area, was this band. As it pushed up here, then I started to get it running in my direction. It bounced again on me. This dotted line that's tracking through here, this is the previous day's close. So that's another nice thing. That ran right through this rectangular channel. So we were having that overlaid on top of everything else, creating an even more significant resistance area. So then it bounced again, and now we're up touching the middle VWAP. So that was my last resort. That was my last stop loss area. So it bounced here, pulled back, came back, bounced again, touched the middle VWAP, pulled back again. So you can see I was in this trade for quite a while, and then you got this third touch, and I actually added 300 shares here just because it made the third touch. This was setting up as a nice resistance area. So after two touches and then getting the third, I added 300 shares in my position, and then it started to move down. And as we crossed the 180-day simple moving average, it pushed below. I sold 500 shares at 33.43, got another push down, sold 400 shares at 33.40, and then watched the price action really closely as it sort of tracked just below the 15 EMA. I got one final push down, and I sold the final lot of 400 shares at 33.30. So ended up with a nice little profit on the day. And what I want to show you now is going back to my entry. So on the 1 minute chart, it breaks down, comes back up and tests, gets rejected, tests, get rejected, comes down here. So I thought this was a pullback and we're going to roll over. But here's the thing. This is right around 9:30. If I flip over to the 5 minute chart and we look at that same area where I took that entry, and I zoom us in a little bit, here's that first short position I took with 500 shares. On the 5 minute candle, it's a doji. So we had a sell-off into a doji, which if I would have been watching the 5 minute chart, I would have never taken a short position here because this is indicating this. So something to think about is, and I think I'm going to start this off on Monday, is always having the 1 and the 5 minute up on my screen at all times. Because if you get too hyper focused on the 1 minute chart, a lot of times it's okay, but like today, if I would have had an eye on the 5 minute chart, then I would have avoided this length of time in the trade. I would have waited or just passed on it altogether because I missed the original good entry. So I think a little bit of FOMO might have played into this trade. But all in all, I ended up good with 3 sells down here. So I'm totally happy with how that ended up on the day. Took the small loss on UGAZ earlier, not a big deal. But I want to hear what you guys traded today. I want to know if you guys are red, if you're green, what you traded. And like I said in the intro, I didn't get a chance to do any large cap VWAP breaks to scalp today. So I'm hoping on Monday I can get some more activity in that area. It's just sort of finding the right stock that sets up for that. Having nice large candles that are moving away from the VWAP and then coming back to it and breaking through. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out yesterday's video where I got into sort of that little side project I've been working on with the VWAP breaks. So feel free to check that out. And at the end of this video, I'll post it up on the screen up here somewhere so you can click on that and watch that. But anyway, hope you had a great day. Have a great weekend. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you.